Let's get this farce over.
Hello. Today's episode in the Versus series, Clinkz. Let's begin. Our starting items don't change much from regular items, either null plus fairy fire plus branch, or null plus branches. That's down to your personal preference. Always queue up a salve after bounties are picked up. As with every matchup, attempt to end the creep block on your own high ground. There is no need to lead the ranged creep first, as we want to complicate it for Clinkz.
Denied!
Now, let's forget mechanical stuff and analyze how these two heroes operate. Clinkz has superior damage, but only on last hits, not denies. Clinkz also has tools to avoid damage taken from Storm, which tells us not to commit to trading hits. Clinkz can also harass Storm without drawing creep aggro, which means Storm wants to stay out of range whenever possible. And with this, we conclude that we cannot do anything to Clinkz, while he can and will do everything to us. Looks like a last mid, yeah? No. Let's talk Storm's strengths. Remnant. That is all. That is all you need to mitigate this matchup. Let's get back to the mechanical side. The way I approach the lane is I try to stay out of range until it is time to hit something. I come close, take a few hits from Clinkz, but draw the creep aggro back to me, making it easier to contest those. Sometimes Clinkz will be so obsessed with putting arrows in your hat, he will forget that the ranged creep is about to be denied.
Thanks and have fun.
First blood. Have I got jigs on my chins?
From level 4 onwards, you become efficient enough to rotate to jungle alongside the wave, so your goal becomes clearing the creep wave as fast as possible while taking the least amount of damage, then getting out. By constantly having lanes shoved in his face, Clinkz cannot really go hunt for runes as it would mean missed farm for him, so Storm is free to load extra battle regen every even minute, which helps keep the pacing. What also helps the pacing is a habit of picking up 1 or 2 clarities every time you send yourself an item. Salt 2 if you are playing against aggressive heroes, such as now. Ideally, you'll want to leave the lane at around 35-40 something seconds, stack the big camp, go to the rune, clear the wave, get back to jungle. That's efficiency. It might not always happen, sometimes you will forget or mess it up, but that's what you're aiming for.
Haste!
It's always good to visualize a mental plan in your head of what you want to do next and plan your future moves accordingly.
Let the fun begin!
Remember, you don't want to linger in the jungle too much. If the lane is free, Clinkz gets free hits at your tower. Try to maintain your tower at a healthy state for as long as possible. Always return when enemy creeps start punching it.
Coin for me.
Life gets so much easier once you reach 6. Clinkz can no longer attempt to nuke you down, since you'll just zap away. Runes are even easier to pick up, and waves die even faster.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
At the end of the laning stage, Storm ends up winning mid simply not by shutting down Clinkz, but by getting more out of his own lane, and that's the mentality you'll want to approach every matchup with.
Get over it!
Ha ha!
Denied!
Dire structures have been fortified. Dire's middle tower is being attacked.
And now, you need to start thinking about the game past the laning stage. As Storm, while you farm faster than Clinkz, you are not preventing him from farming either, so he'll get his items at a good pace. That means you need to anticipate what his next item is going to be, and decide how to counter it. In this game, he was going for Orchid, and while I could have gotten early Yules, I decided I did well enough on farm that I can get Linken's instead, which blocks both Orchid and Nullifier.
I'm over here. By the acre.
Double kill.
While I did die a few times out of carelessness, once I got Linken's, Clinkz could no longer attempt to solo murder me and stopped chasing me altogether. This concludes Storm vs Clinkz. Good luck.
Oh, what'd I miss? Oh!